Today, we asked these 5 AIs for the top 20 greatest players in history. This debate has existed for years, and it will be an eternal discussion. But let's see what AI has to say. And I'll tell you right now, there wasn't a single consensus in any position. In 20th place, Grok chose Franz Roth, the German. Gemini, on the other hand, picked Xavi Hernandez. And LeChat voted for Gianluigi Buffon. But he wasn't the only one who went with a goalkeeper, because ChatGPT and DeepSeek voted for Lev Yashin. But how are we going to know who wins this spot if everyone voted differently? We're going to rank it using a point system to make it as fair as possible. The higher a player appears, the more points he gets. 20th place adds 1 point, 19th gets 2 points, 18th gets 3 points, and so on all the way to first place. So Lev Yashin takes the lead in the list with 2 points, while Franz, Xavi, and Buffon each add their first point. Let's move on to 19th place. Gemini chose the already mentioned Lev Yashin, the only goalkeeper to ever win the Ballon d'Or. With the USSR, he won the very first European Championship and played in 4 World Cups. Grok named Bobby Charlton, the gentleman of English football. And LeChat for this spot went with Roberto Baggio. However, this will be the only appearance for these 2 players in the ranking, which is incredible. ChatGPT went with Ronaldinho Gaucho, Ballon d'Or winner in 2005 and twice FIFA World Player of the Year. He was the catalyst who rescued Barcelona and led them to the 2006 Champions League, as well as 2 straight La Liga titles. His peak was brief, but he changed an era and redefined entertainment at the highest level. But DeepSeek's vote surprised me. He brought in a true legend, Eusebio. For the 18th position, ChatGPT once again brings up the name of Xavi, and it's no surprise. The brain of the best Barca in history and of Spain's World Cup winning side. 4 Champions League titles, multiple league trophies, and his consistency for over a decade made him a global reference. With this vote, he draws level with Yashin in the table. But the rest of the AIs didn't agree. LeChat went with Gerd Muller. Yes, but honestly, I don't agree. I think this is quite a low spot for him. Grok mentioned the Milan legend Paolo Maldini, a symbol of longevity and excellence. More than 20 seasons at the elite level, 5 European Cups, and numerous league titles with Milan. He defended just as well out wide as he did in the center. Gemini had yet another name, Garrincha, undoubtedly an icon of Brazilian and world football. DeepSeek, on the other hand, brought up Andres Iniesta, the scorer of the only goal in the 2010 World Cup final. He completed the perfect tandem with Xavi, taking midfield control to another level and sustaining top-level consistency for more than 10 years. And that's why ChatGPT and LeChat voted for him in 17th place, raising his position in the table. Xavi adds more points thanks to DeepSeek, who also placed him here. And another Brazilian legend shows up, as Gemini voted for Romario, a striker with pure goal-scoring talent and a unique ability to finish with cold-blooded precision. For Elon Musk's AI, the choice for this spot was Marco van Basten. 3 Ballon d'Ors, a Euro, 3 European Cups with Milan, and 4 Scudetti. 301 goals, iconic volleys. And although injuries cut his career short, his legacy remains eternal. Let's see how the table changed. Iniesta climbed to the top spot with 11 points. He's followed by Xavi with 8 points. And right behind him, Romario, Van Basten, and Yashin with 4 points each. For 16th place, Grok and ChatGPT agreed on Michel Platini. Winner of 3 consecutive Ballon d'Ors, leader of the France team that conquered Euro 1984. An elegant and cerebral attacking midfielder. His vision, passing precision, and free kick ability made him a true reference. With Juventus, he lifted the 1985 European Cup, along with domestic titles and the Intercontinental. Gemini once again brought up Eusebio, who climbs in the table. And DeepSeek voted for the already mentioned Maldini. Meanwhile, LeChat leaned toward Xavi Hernandez, whose vote lifts him to first place in the table. And we can clearly see the difference of opinion among the AIs. Xavi appeared in positions 20, 18, 17, and 16. And let's not forget that Grok hasn't even mentioned him in his ranking. We move on to 15th place. Here, Maldini rises in the table because ChatGPT and Gemini both voted for him, but he's not the only one climbing positions. Grok went with Gerd Muller, World Cup champion in 1974 and Euro 1972 winner. With Bayern, he won 3 consecutive European Cups. And he holds the historic record of 365 goals in the Bundesliga, a born goal scorer. Lichat had another name, Ronaldinho. The Brazilian moves up in the table, and someone who's also gaining ground and earning important points is Marco van Basten, DeepSeek's choice. For 14th place, Grok's vote really surprised me, Lev Yashin. Yes, Yashin's name shows up once again, and once again we see the clear difference in opinion. He appeared in 20th place, then 19th, and now in 14th, while Lechat hasn't included him at all in his ranking. Gemini brought in a new name, Ferenc Puskás, and this won't be the last time he appears in this ranking. ChatGPT went with Eusebio, who had already appeared twice before in this list. Meanwhile, the French AI voted for Paolo Maldini, who continues climbing higher and higher up the table. DeepSeek, on the other hand, introduced a different name, Lothar Matthäus, a titan of the midfield. He played in 5 World Cups, winning 1 in 1990 as captain. He was key for both Inter and Bayern Munich, a Ballon d'Or winner and the backbone of his generation. That's why, in 13th place, ChatGPT voted for Lothar Matthäus. Grok chose Ferenc Puskás, who keeps climbing in the overall ranking. And Gerd Müller continues adding points thanks to DeepSeek. Lichat brought in a legend, George Best. The 5th Beatle was the most talented player of his generation. He won the Ballon d'Or in 1968 and led Manchester United to their first European Cup. His dribbling, speed, and charisma made him an icon. And Gemini introduced yet another name, Zico, an attacking midfielder with exquisite technique, vision, and an extraordinary ability both to pass and to score. His influence at Flamengo and in Brazilian football is legendary. I'm surprised he ranks this high, and that this is his only appearance on the list. The table now stands as follows. Paolo Maldini comfortably in first place with 27 points, followed by Gerd Müller, who climbed several spots with 17 points. Just behind are Puskás and Matthäus, tied with 15 points each. But let's see if any of those further down manage to climb higher. Let's continue with 12th place. This time, Grok and ChatGPT voted for the same player, Garrincha, who had already appeared in 18th place even though Lichat and DeepSeek didn't include him in their rankings at all. But thanks to Lichat, another player who keeps adding points, and probably climbed several spots in the table, is Marco van Basten. And the same goes for Gemini, who gave his vote to Michel Platini at this position. On the other hand, DeepSeek chose Ferenc Puskás, the Real Madrid legend, a double European champion with the Spanish side, scorer of 4 goals in the 1960 final, and La Liga's top scorer in 4 different seasons. That's why, in 11th place, ChatGPT and Lichat voted for Puskás, but Gemini voted for Gerd Müller. Meanwhile, Grok brought back a name we've already seen in this ranking, Eusebio. And it's impressive that one AI puts him in 11th place and another all the way down at 19th. He won a Ballon d'Or and led Portugal to 3rd place in the 1966 World Cup. With more than 700 career goals, he was Portugal's all-time top scorer until Ronaldo surpassed him. But there was still one more name, and DeepSeek's choice was George Best, a Manchester United legend. For the top 10, it was Grok and Gemini who chose George Best. DeepSeek went with Michel Platini, while ChatGPT gave his vote to Gerd Müller. The difference of opinion here is incredible. Müller appeared in 18th, then 15th, 13th, 11th, and now in 10th place. He clearly sparks a lot of debate, but one name was still missing, and the French AI chose Alfredo Di Stefano, the first true global superstar of football, the undisputed leader of Real Madrid, who conquered Europe in the 1950s with 5 consecutive European Cups. A 2-time Ballon d'Or winner, he is considered among the greatest in the history of the club. A complete forward. But DeepSeek placed him in 9th position. On the other hand, Lichat was the one who rated Michel Platini the highest, putting him above the rest of the AIs. But Grok and ChatGPT had another name in mind. Zinedine Zidane, Ballon d'Or in 1998, World Cup champion that same year with an unforgettable headed brace in the final, and European champion in 2000. He shone at Juventus and Real Madrid, leaving an indelible mark. In 2006, he once again dominated a World Cup, carrying France to the final. Without a doubt, one of the most decisive talents in football history. And Gemini brought us yet another new name, a legend, Ronaldo Nazario, although many would rank him even higher on this list. And at this point, the table changed quite a bit, placing Puskas at the top with 44 points, followed closely by Platini with 42 points, and further behind George Best, Muller, and Platini. But in 8th place, it was Grok, ChatGPT, LeChat, and DeepSeek, who all voted for Ronaldo Nazario. O Fenomeno won the Ballon d'Or in 1997 and 2002. He became world champion in 2002 with 8 goals, crowning a comeback after injuries that had nearly ended his career. He produced video game-like seasons at PS5 and Barcelona, lifted the UEFA Cup with Inter in 1998, and became an idol at Real Madrid. His blend of speed, technique, and finishing made him the blueprint for the modern number 9. A striker who defined a whole generation and redefined what it meant to be lethal inside the box. The only one who voted differently was Gemini, who chose Alfredo Di Stefano, keeping him climbing in the overall table. For 7th place, the name of Zinedine Zidane appeared once again. This time, LeChat, Gemini, and DeepSeek voted for him. But Grok and ChatGPT surprised us with a new name, Franz Beckenbauer. Captain of Germany's World Cup winning team in 1974 and the Euro 1972 champions. With Bayern Munich, he conquered 3 consecutive European Cups, cementing a golden era. Ballon d'Or winner in 1972 and 1976. His consistently elite performances over more than a decade, combined with unshakable leadership in decisive moments, make him the most tactically influential defender in football history. The same opinion was shared by LeChat, Gemini, and DeepSeek for the number 6 position, voting for Beckenbauer. But Grok surprised everyone with a vote at this spot for Alfredo Di Stefano. And ChatGPT brought us a new name, Johan Cruyff, the inventor of total football and the man who changed the sport as both player and coach. 3 Ballon d'Ors, 3 European Cups with Ajax, and 1 La Liga with Barca. 2 World Cup runner-ups and more than 400 goals. But his legacy is tactical. He built Barca's dream team and won 4 La Ligas as manager. That's why for 5th place, Grok, LeChat, and DeepSeek voted for Cruyff. And this time, it was ChatGPT who surprised us with his vote for Alfredo Di Stefano in this position. But what shocked me most was Gemini's vote, because for this position, he chose Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, the top scorer in the history of the sport. Because Gemini, for the 4th position, chose Johan Cruyff over the Portuguese. But the rest of the AIs didn't agree and chose Cristiano Ronaldo, a goal-scoring machine and a prodigious athlete. His discipline, ambition, and ability to adapt have kept him at the top for nearly 2 decades. He is the all-time leading scorer in football history for national teams and in the Champions League. A Champions League winner with 2 different clubs and successful in England, Spain, and Italy. His career is synonymous with longevity and greatness. A complete forward whose obsession with breaking limits made him one of the most influential and decisive footballers of all time. And before entering the top 3, let's take a look at how the standings ended up from the top 20 to the 4th position. In 20th place, with 11 points, we find Andres Iniesta. 19th goes to Xavi Hernandez with 13 points, a midfielder who defined an era with Barcelona and the Spanish national team. One step above, in 18th with 15 points, we find Lothar Matthäus. 17th is Marco van Basten with 19 points, the Dutch striker with a rather short career. Just above, in 16th place, we have Garrincha with 21 points. In 15th, with 24 points, appears Eusebio, the Black Panther, Benfica's greatest idol. At 14th, with 27 points, stands Paolo Maldini. 13th goes to Gerd Müller with 38 points, one of the greatest goal scorers in history. In 12th, with 40 points, is George Best. And 11th is occupied by Michel Platini with 42 points. Already inside the top 10, in 10th place we find Ferenc Puskás with 44 points. In 9th is Ronaldo Nazario with 64 points, 2-time Ballon d'Or winner and World Cup champion in 2002 with 8 goals. In 8th place appears Zinedine Zidane with 66 points, World Cup winner in 1998. 7th is Alfredo Di Stefano with 67 points, the leader of Real Madrid. 6th place goes to Franz Beckenbauer with 73 points, the German Kaiser who transformed the sweeper role and captained his country to a World Cup title. In fifth is Johan Cruyff with 80 points, the revolutionary Dutchman. And finally, in fourth place, with 84 points, Cristiano Ronaldo, the Portuguese forward, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, and all-time top scorer in the Champions League. Let's move on to the top three, and for third place, Grok chose Diego Maradona, the ultimate leader who transformed Napoli and led them to conquer 2 Scudettos, forever changing the history of the club. With Argentina, he won an unforgettable World Cup, where he scored 5 goals, including 2 immortal masterpieces against England, the controversial Hand of God and the majestic Goal of the Century. He amassed 345 official goals and left behind a legacy that transcends statistics. His hypnotic dribbling, magical control, and overflowing passion redefined South American football. FIFA recognized him as the Player of the Century, and although his career was marked by controversies, his cultural and sporting impact remains unmatched. But DeepSeek placed Pele in this position, and it wasn't just DeepSeek. Gemini supported this decision. However, ChatGPT and LeChat voted for Diego Maradona. In second place, Elon Musk's AI voted for Lionel Messi. However, ChatGPT disagreed and named Pele, the undisputed king, for his global impact and pioneering achievement. He won 3 World Cups, being decisive in 1958 at just 17 years old, scoring 6 goals and earning the Best Young Player award, and in 1970, when he led what is often called the greatest team in history. He won 2 Copa Libertadores and 2 Intercontinental Cup. FIFA named him Player of the Century alongside Maradona. His vision, dribbling, and goals defined attacking football. Without him, Brazil wouldn't have its 5 stars. LeChat shared this opinion, giving him another vote. Meanwhile, Gemini and DeepSeek voted for the recently mentioned Diego Maradona. So now we arrive at first place. Grok mentioned Pele, the only one who hadn't yet given him a vote. But ChatGPT chose Lionel Messi, World Cup champion in 2022 and Golden Ball winner of the tournament, Copa America champion in 2021 and 2024, and winner of 4 Champions Leagues with Barcelona. All-time top scorer in La Liga, 91 goals in a single calendar year, and 8 Ballon d'Ors. 10 league titles with Barca, plus countless decisive goals across every stage of his career. His consistency for nearly 2 decades and his impact on the evolution of the game place him as the greatest player of all time. And the truth is, the rest of the AIs also voted for him. So let's see how the AI's ranking finished. In third place, with an incredible 92 points, we have Diego Maradona. In second, not far behind with 94 points, comes Pele. And finally, in first place, with an almost perfect score of 99 points, we have Lionel Messi. Do you agree with the ranking? Leave a like, subscribe so you don't miss anything, and we'll see you in the next one with More Than Football.